Well, I wonder whether John Reynolds can do something even more spectacular. He was on the podium in race 1 today, really came from behind. He had a little bit of a tussle with his teammate James Hayden. I think it's all going to be about, Neil Mackenzie, whether they can clamp down Ryoichi Kiyanari at the... Reynolds is going to be joining us as well at Day of Champions, so 21st of July. Good on you, JR. Glad you're supporting us.
Thanks very much, Keith. John, great race 1. We've established that. Can you do it again race 2?
Yeah, there's no reason why I can't. The bike's just the same, and I feel I'm riding it as well, so we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I think a few people have asked some questions about health and actual physical mobility about the bike in between the races. It was quite a strenuous race in race 1, especially in this heat. Is that going to be any sort of factor?
No, not really. I mean, I've been working hard and training hard. One thing I haven't been doing is riding a bike that much. Having said that, we had a couple of good tests over the last couple of weeks, but race-wise, I've not really done that much this year. So yeah, you're right. It's not easy, and I'm having to dig deep. But I mean, I'm climbing a massive mountain at the moment.
The grunt out of the Suzuki's onto the back straight was absolutely phenomenal. We saw it time and time again. So from an engineering point of view, how close are you to the Hondas, do you think, at this stage?
Yeah, very close. I mean, Michael certainly had nothing on me at all whatsoever, and the guys have been working really hard. The chassis and the engine is fantastic on the Rizla Suzuki, so I've got no excuses.
Is it a case of getting away with them at the start and then trying to sort it out from there?
Yeah, exactly that, Tony. I mean, I need really to get a good start and, as you rightly say, get off with the leaders and hopefully try and stay with them for as long as I can.
Excellent, mate. Thanks very much. And, of course, we will see you at Riders for Health at Donington, won't we, on Day of Champions?
Let's hope so.
Excellent. Have a good race, mate. Thanks very much. OK, what we're going to do, we're going to just move forward a bit now and look at Michael Rutter, find out how he is doing after the stresses of race 1. As we said before, he was really banged up in his crash during qualifying, hurt himself all across the collarbones. We'll just try and catch a quick word with him now. Mike, sorry, mate, I know you're just putting the earplugs in. Just want to catch a quick second with you. How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, good. I had a bit of a problem with the quick shift in the first race after the second lap. And just hard work to ride around here without any quick shift, but hopefully it's sorted now.
Excellent. And the physical condition, I mean, you've had a race under your belt now, and it's almost over. You can almost go home and sit in the cold bath and cry in the shower type thing, but how are you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm okay, to be honest. There was no problem in that first race, just a bit of me, and didn't get the quick shift going on it, really.
And any chance of catching Keogh off the start, because he's just flying away from this, isn't he?
We just need to get with him in those first couple of laps, but can't seem to do that at the moment.
All right, mate, thanks very much. Have as good race as you can. Right, OK, let's move round to the pole position man, Leon Haslam, see if he can do anything about the flying man, Kiyanari. Keogh, very quickly, just stop in here for a second. Keogh, again, you win?
I hope.
Always hope. Good luck, Keogh. Right, nip across to Leon Haslam. And there's another guy who's going to be at the Day of Champions at Donington Park for Riders for Health. Best charity out there, I think we're all agreed on that, Leon.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fantastic day up there, and you've got to get yourself down there. It's one of the main races in the World Championship MotoGP where you can have a look around and a lot of things to do.
Have a laugh, go out and play with the riders and all that sort of thing. As long as you put your hand in your pocket, you can get almost anything there, can't you?
That's it, it's fantastic.
Excellent. Now, race 1. You got away pretty well at the start, but Keogh just seemed to manage to pull away, even though you were putting some pretty big pressure on him in the first third.
Yeah, first third was good. We just probably need to put him a bit under pressure just to unbalance him a little bit, and then at the end of the race we made a couple of changes just to get the rear suspension working a bit towards the end, but other than that should be good.
Excellent, mate. Best of luck with that. OK, we're just going to nip back through onto the second row of the grid. I just want to see if we can grab a very, very quick word with James Hayden. Now, James himself had a bit of a spill during qualifying, and he's a bit battered and bruised as well. We'll just stop and see how he's doing. James, just before you're on the shooting off here, how you feeling, mate? Everything OK?
Yeah, a bit, bruised and battered, but we got the Rizla Suzuki working well, and we'll be hoping for a good race in this one.
Race 1, I mean, John made a little mistake there, ran a bit wide, didn't he? And you were on him, and you were right up there. That was fantastic. Great to be taking advantage of such positions, obviously, and you feel quite confident with the Suzuki.
Yep, definitely. We've still got a bit of work to do, but we've come on in leaps and bounds, and support the Rizla Suzukis.
Yeah, you've got some new gas-filled forks, haven't you, on the bike?
Yeah, we have indeed. They've taken a bit of setting up, but we've got great engineers, and we're getting there with it now. So the bike's definitely the best it's been.
So all of the work that you've been doing, it's all on the front end, and now it's instilling that confidence again.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I'm really happy. A little bit to do, but it's nearly perfect.
Brilliant, James. Have a great race. Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, mate. OK, right, well, there's going to be Star Wars out on the track. You can rest assured of that. And I'm going to hand back now to the Obi-Wan Kenobi of commentating. That's Neil Mackenzie. And, of course, we have a wizened old sage of the Yoda, and that's Keith Hewen. Over to you.
Taking time off from paid employment this week.
Certainly, it'll be well worth it, I'm sure.
It will be indeed, and Jan will be impressed as they get away then to start race 2 today. It is the British Superbike race part 2 of Snetterton, and look at this, Michael Rutter. What were we saying about Michael Rutter? He's out.
He's angry.
a smile on his face. He's got 2 men between him and his main adversary for the championship, his teammate Ryoichi Kiyanari. What a start from Rutter, superb. And it has you've got to say Michael Laverty and the Airwaves Ducati of Leon Haslam found themselves a little wide at Riches, and taking full advantage was Rutter. But look at Michael Laverty, surely not going to be, after 25 laps, his first race win ever on Superbikes. Laverty has gone from being a good Supersports rider to a great Superbike rider in 8 rounds.
Well, he led there, his first Superbike lead, only for a second, but he's going to be doing a bit more leading, I'm sure, before the season's out, or maybe even before this race is finished.
Current curve, down towards Russell Chicane now. Rutter leads on the HM Plant Honda, then it is the Eddie Stobart Honda of Michael Laverty on bike 33, then it's the Airwaves Ducati of 91 Haslam, then it's Ryoichi Kiyanari on Rutter's teammate bike.
I'll tell you, Michael Rutter wasn't depressed, he wasn't miserable, he was just angry and focused.
Yeah, well, we obviously misinterpreted how Michael Rutter looked before we started this race. He obviously didn't want to talk to Tony Carter, really. That's his wife, Sandrine, and his partner, Sandrine, I should say, and really that makes a big difference to Michael Rutter. It was focus. It wasn't misery, it was focus.
Good start. Ryoichi Kiyanari, I've never seen him made a 4 days. That's the worst start he's made in a lot of races.
Well, it's about time is all I can say, because the way he's running away with the championship, or running away with the race wins, I should say. It's Rutter who was formerly running away with the championship, and that was courtesy of Ryoichi Kiyanari basically injuring himself at Mallory Park and taking 2 rounds out. So Michael Rutter leads on lap 2, right behind him. What a revelation on a Superbike, Michael Laverty. Oh, Laverty, he is the Craig Jones of Superbikes.
I'm sure I've seen some smoke there from Leon Haslam's Ducati, I hope I'm wrong.
Well, it threw its lunch up on Friday, it's got to be said, at that part of the track as well, between Coram and Russell's. Hopefully it won't do the same thing in this race as he looks to the inside of Laverty but doesn't get it. Ryoichi Kiyanari still in 4th place on bike 6.
Leon Haslam having a lot of problems with oil coolers. He's had quite a few oil coolers broken this year. Sometimes the oil goes in the front tyre, sometimes the rear tyre. Let's just hope that it was my imagination and there's no smoke coming out of that.
Kiyanari fastest lap of the race so far on lap 2 already. Look how quick that is. Slipstream City, Kiyanari overtakes Haslam on the Revit straight. It's a long straight, 190 mile an hour. Haslam better on the brakes though, into the S's. I'll tell you what, Haslam's bike is definitely blowing a bit of smoke on the overrun. I saw some.
Well,
3rd place Haslam.
If it is, I hope someone can get a flag out, because if it's an oil cooler that's split, then it doesn't take very long before the oil sprays onto the tyres.
And that'll be a big off, especially here at Coram. Coram curve, down towards the Russell chicane. Doesn't look too bad now, though, I have to say.
I can't see anything.
Maybe it was just a little bit of an excess dropped onto the exhaust and just blowing back in the slipstream of the bike. So still, Michael Rutter leads at the end of lap 3. Michael Laverty right beside him.
I tell you what, that Stobart Honda seems to match the pace of the full factory HM Plant Honda.
It's the point Paul Bird was trying to say, that if you're going to try and do something a little bit special, sometimes you have to go away from the norm, and that's why they didn't take up the offer from HRC to try and develop that motorcycle differently, to try and develop it in a similar manner to Carl Harris and Jonathan Ray.
Yeah.
And it's working, by the look of it. Fastest lap, 1:05.7 to Michael Laverty. Paul Bird, dear me. He's going to celebrate with another holiday.
Well,
here we go, Michael Laverty on the inside of Rutter.
Wow.
Laverty takes it, the Ulsterman from Tombridge in Northern Ireland.
Fantastic, he leads properly. His first Superbike race looked brilliant.
And he's past the man who leads the championship. Michael Laverty is going from strength to strength. Dunlop tyres versus the Michelin-shod HRC factory-backed HM Plant Honda of Michael Rutter. And that's smoke coming from there. Definitely. I don't know whether that was maybe a suspension compressed through Coram. Something is getting rubbing against the tyre pad.
It was the exit of Coram when I first saw it. You would think it would have got worse by now, but certainly for the guys behind him, there's more smoke coming out. It's going to be unnerving for Kiyanari, who's right behind him, is Laverty. We see Laverty going under Michael Rutter into the S's. Tight left-hander here, flows in there, keeps it tight and manages to keep that lead. Leon's totally unaware there's any problems with his bike.
Black and orange flag out for Leon Haslam. That is the flag that says he's got to come in for an inspection. So Leon Haslam is going to be out of this race in a moment, and he's going to thank them because that bike's going to go bang. There's smoke coming from the rear end of it again. The race director has brought Leon Haslam in, hopefully soon enough. Rutter still leads from Laverty now back to 2nd place. Third is Ryoichi Kiyanari.
Leon's got his hand up. I'm really grateful he's seen the flags. I didn't want to see that get any worse.
Well, I don't think he would have seen them round there. I think he would have spotted that for himself, to be honest, because the black and orange flags won't be round the back there, will they? They're usually in pit lane.
I'll tell you what, this racetrack is hard on engines. If it's an oil cooler split, then that's really diabolical. They've had so many problems this year. You really would think that they would sort it out. They had loads of problems last year in World Superbike. Lots of riders crashing because of that. Leon actually went down on Friday because of an oil cooler splitting.
So, Chianari puts the pressure on. It's 3 Hondas at the front. It's the HM Plant Honda sandwich with the Eddie Stobart bike right in the middle of it, in the thick of the action. These two won't be used to Michael Laverty being right among them. Laverty, 22, 23 years old now, I think, Michael Laverty.
Nah, it's too bad for the air race Ducati rider.
Yeah, team principal Darryl Healy is here today as well. Obviously the pole position bringing him this far east. But,
Michael Laverty, ooh.
He looked confident, didn't he? He looks to run on that front end. Laverty,
Where's
great
Chianari?
style as well.
Where's Chianari? We've lost Chianari.
Lap 6 of 25. Where is Rioichi? Well, the only place he could have gone is off at Sears. Would have been Ritchie's or Sears.
Well, I don't know what we've done.
It must be Ritchie's or Sears.
Came over the start finish on the last lap.
And didn't make it to the end of the Revit Straight, so there's only 2 corners between those 2 points.
Oh, Michael Laverty.
I'll tell
Just
you what,
tripped himself up a little bit.
I thought that was more Michael Rutter, just being a bit slow mid-corner and really boxing Michael Laverty in the middle there. I might have seen it slightly differently.
Yeah, no, Michael Laverty backing it in there a little bit offline. He was coming across on the back of Michael and had to take evasive action.
Did very well to hang on to that right out there on the marbles.
That's dusty and dirty in there.
Really.
That's giving James Hayden a chance. James Hayden in 3rd position there won't give James Hayden a chance to catch up. Gregorio Olivier, much better start in this race. He's in 4th position.
Needs to do some work though if he's going to make this work for him. His teammate out, of course, so Michael Rutter leads. Oh, it's an off. That is a wrecked number 6 HM Plant Honda bike of Rioichi Chianari. We can only guess what happened. We have absolutely no idea at this point. Chianari's bike being ushered off by the suitably coloured HM Plant.
Well, that's given this rider, number 2, Michael Rutter, a break as far as the championship's concerned.
Well, you know, it is about winning races, but it's also about finishing championships, and I think this is a graphic indication.
Oh no, James Hayden down.
I don't know whether it's down or a breakdown. That looks like a breakdown to me, not a down.
It's on its side now, but...
Yeah. well observed.
Yeah.
I think I might have been there.
Yeah, he was in a good 3rd position there.
He is a faller, so he fell down at the S's. That's a slow speed fall for James Hayden, and I can tell you, Tony Carter, while we get a little bit of a break here for Michael Rutter, is down there with Leon Haslam.
Leon, early bath time, what happened?
I'm not sure. I saw the black flag with 91 on, so I pulled over. They were saying a bit of smoke was coming from the back, but there don't seem to be nothing wrong at this point, so real frustrated really, especially with Kia, my biggest threat down as well. It was sitting comfortable behind Rutter and Laverty. It could have been one of the easiest wins of the season so far, so real frustrated really.
No indication from the bike, there was no sort of cutting out or anything like that?
No, bike was fine, it was running good. I looked behind me, I couldn't see any smoke, but obviously they must have saw something to black flag me.
OK, mate, listen, I'll let you get back in there and debrief with the team. Thanks very much for your time with us. OK, boys, back to you in the commentary.
Oh, thank you, TC, and you joined us just perfectly there for Michael Laverty. He's on a mission at Russell's, and the mission is going straight through the barrier in a minute. Michael Rutter goes over the line. He's just in front of us here in the commentary position. Michael Laverty, another huge mistake coming into Russell's chicane, and another great save as far as I'm concerned.
He's trying really hard. On the last lap, he actually pulled the gap back on Rutter. His last lap was a bit faster, but he's pushing hard into there, and he's messing up a little bit.
Look at the front end, it's buried into the mudguards, buried into the fairing. How the hell he saved it, I do not know.
He really needs to settle down, keep things consistent, because Gregorio Olivier is catching him there.
Laverty's still the fastest man out on the racetrack at the moment, but it is Michael Rutter, the cool, calm, collected Michael Rutter. Well, we misinterpreted his mood at the beginning of this race as being miserable. You can almost say uninterested in racing. What it was, in the end,
defeated. It looked like he was defeated. Completely opposite.
Completely opposite. It was focus. It was wanting to get on with this race. And, well, it's a slap in the face for your commentary team, but I'm happy to have that slap in the face, I've got to say. Good to see Michael Rutter on this kind of form. Chianari's got to be a thorn in his side. I don't care how politically correct he is as far as what he says about his teammate first rule, and I know you don't subscribe to this, but 99% of the paddock do. First place is got to beat the teammate.
What are you trying to say? I'm wrong.
No, not at all.
Well, mate, I'm glad to see it because Michael Rutter went off the line, he went from the front, he wanted to dominate, he was angry, and Keogh was under pressure trying to catch him and made a mistake. So sometimes that's what it takes. Put your teammate, put your competition under pressure and see what happens.
Kieran Clark on the Hydrex Honda, the 74 bike. He's a faller at Riches, but absolutely okay. So Kieran Clark joined this week by Steve Plater in the Hydrex team. Steve Plater having a good ride. He's in 7th place at the moment, so 2 good solid rides from him so far. But 25 points. Michael Rudder is going to regain the upper hand in the Bennett British Superbike Championship as we go to the 6-week summer recess in BSB. Michael Laverty, likewise, is going to have surely another podium here, barring a major mistake here at Russell Chicane. And Gregorio Lavia, the magnificent Spaniard, is in 3rd place from the 2nd row of the grid. I'll tell you what, whenever he qualifies on the front row of the grid, he might be something very special, Gregorio, because he just gives everybody a head start.
It seems to fire him up. He's just matched the fastest lap of the race. Laverty's fastest lap of the race, 1:5.71, and Lavia's just done a 1:5.71, just 1,000th of a second slower than Laverty, but right on the pace.
So onto the Revit straight for the 11th time of 25. Rutter, Laverty, Lavia. Reynolds is in 4th place on the Rizla Suzuki. Dean Thomas, a much better ride from him on the Hawk Kawasaki in 5th place. In 6th place, another great ride. Ben Wilson on the Vivaldi Kawasaki. Then Steve Plater in 7th place on bike number 4 on the Hydrex Honda. Tommy Hill on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha in 8th place. 9th is Gary Mason, the 2nd of the Eddie Stobart bikes. And then Diesel Danny Beaumont, bike 37, the best of the privateers, in 10th place overall, but on a 25-point placing in the Superbike Cup. Great stuff for Dan on the JJL Honda.
Let's just watch the gap. On the last lap between Rutter and Laverty was 1.1 seconds, so just about to come over the line, and I reckon Laverty is pulling it back on Michael Rutter.
And being
1 seconds.
And being pushed like mad from Gregorio Lavia. Well, he did gain back a 10th of a second, and every 10th counts, and we are only half distance here.
Halfway through. There's a long way to go.
Tell you what, Michael Laverty, I've got to say, does find himself out a little bit on the wide line occasionally.
He was wide there at Riches.
Looks a little bit scary. He just he knows he's under pressure from Gregorio Lavia. He might do well to let Lavia give him a bit of a toe up to Michael Rudder.
Yeah, Lavia a lot more experienced.
This is where Lavia came to grief on Friday. A lot of people off on Friday and Saturday. This particular corner and the Russell Chicane claiming so many. But I think that being a marker more of the fact that these guys are totally committed to fast laps rather than it being some feature of the track. Number 16 has come into pit lane as well. That's the Gentin racing bike ridden by Richard Norris. So he's riding in the Superbike Cup Series on the Gentin Yamaha. He's out. Still Michael Rudder. What's the distance, Neil?
1 second on the last lap. Laverty's closer, 1/10 of a second. He's taken out himself on Michael Rutter.
You be careful, you'll fall off that chair if you get excited.
I'm excited. Michael Laverty's obviously settled down. He's got things together. Michael Rutter, of course, very consistent each lap in the low 160s, 1:6.2 on that last lap.
He's a good, neat rider as well, Michael Laverty. Fairly economic in the dramatics as far as making that motorcycle slide all over the place. And he's got to really nurse that tyre with him. You've got to say the Airwave Ducati looks a little bit quicker than the Stobart Honda in the slipstream, that's for sure. Whether he can make the pass on the brakes at the end here, we're about to find out.
Oh,
he's not
tight.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that was tight. He came across the nose then as well of Michael Laverty. Laverty, discretion being the better part of valour at lap 13 of 25. Just decided not to squeeze the issue with that Spaniard there on the Airwave Ducati. Gregorio Lavia goes second then. Now this could be a good thing for Michael Laverty because this man might well tow the pair of them up to Michael Rutter. Thank you.
Do you know what I find incredible? The bike Gregorio Lavia on is the championship winning bikes from last year of James Townsend and Regis Laconi. And Paul Burke can take a standard CBR 1000 Fireblade Honda number 33 there, Michael Laverty, turn it into a world championship equaling machine. Incredible. I'm sure there's no expense spared, and he's got the good guys working on the right guys working on the engineering side of it. But absolutely,
I got a lot of time for Paul Bird. He gets a lot of criticism here and there for being a little bit extrovert sometimes, and certainly he is the king of bling when it comes to the race paddock. But he spends his family's money on a race team. And believe me, the sponsorship that he gets in from Eddie Stobart Al certainly won't cover the total running costs of this team. He spends a lot of money on this team to make it a front runner, and it would be a much poorer place without the likes of Birdie around here.
Looks like Gregorio Lavia is about to do some damage to Michael Rutter's gap.
He's already done it. What gap were you referring to?
I was coming, as it was coming out, I knew I was.
You were worrying, weren't you? Steve Plater has been under observation, I can tell you, by the race director for a technical problem. So Steve Plater on bike number 4 at the Hydrix Honda, they've been taking a bit of a look. I'll tell you what then, Gregorio Lavia sounded to me like he was having a bit of a struggle to get out through the next gear, because that went on the limiter, I thought then.
He do that a lot, him and Leon. If you're out there listening, there's quite a lot of sections in the track that are on the limiter before the shift, and I was standing with Ron yesterday at the S's watching Leon actually, and I meant to ask them, because they're both doing that, whether they just hit the limiter and it shifts, but it doesn't seem to bother them. It's not affecting his lap times.
Danny Beaumont still the best of the Superbike Cup runners, well and truly. Steve Brogan is in second place in that battle with Martin Nutt third. They're a long way adrift of each other though, so that's a technical lead as far as Beaumont is concerned. He's got a big lead over Brogy. Whether Brogy can do anything with that, we'll have to find out later in the race. But right now, Michael Rudder is the man under pressure. The HM Plant Honda. Well, first it was Chianari that he had to worry about. Now it's Gregorio Lavia. Gregorio Lavia, one of the nicest men in the paddock and one of the most committed. I can't believe this bloke didn't have a job at the beginning of this year. When James Hayden hurt himself in testing, they gave Gregorio Lavia the ride after a couple of brilliant rides as a sub. And really, he has committed himself to the British Championship big time.
I'll tell you what, I bet he's got a job for next year. There'll be quite a few teams in this paddock queuing up to get his signature.
Well, I actually had a wander through the paddock earlier on this week, and I've just been thinking to myself, there are so many good quality motorcycles, work-style motorcycles, good privateer motorcycles. There actually aren't enough great riders to ride them anymore. For the first time, in my experience, there are a whole host of really good motorcycles, and there aren't quite enough tip-top riders yet.
Possibly riders to get the best out of them, or riders with the experience.
That's the
and
point.
know-how.
So, Rutter under pressure from Gregorio Lavia. We're on lap 16 and 25. It's by no means out of it yet. It's the Ulsterman, Michael Laverty, in third place at the moment. Michael Laverty. John Laverty, his brother, is out there as well at the moment, down in 19th place on the V-Trans Honda, the 10 Carter tuned V-Trans Honda. Struggling a little bit with the British Superbike Championship. Just the pace a little bit hot for John Laverty at the moment, and I tell you what, Gregorio Lavia, the long way round at Russell's.
You can't do that, Gregorio.
Surely not.
Well, you can if you're a foreign rider and you don't know any better. I've seen Troy Bayliss pull a few mad moves like that when he first came here.
Good point. I wonder how he's going to get on tonight in the MotoGP. Don't forget to tune in and keep an eye on it. Yeah, me too.
Tonight.
10 o'clock live. Yeah, Laguna Seca. Of course, it's not lost on us that the Dorna link.
Of course, John Reynolds in 4th position, Ben Wilson in 5th position on the Vivaldi Kawasaki. How good is that?
No, I told you earlier, he's been riding brilliantly, and since the demise of Chianari, it's moved him up another place. Ben Wilson, I reckon he's responded to the fact that Scott Smart, a reputed... Oh, I'm going to shut up because Lavia's up the inside again. Will Rutter? No, he can't. So exactly the same as he did to Michael Laverty, he's done to Michael Rutter. Rutter could find himself in third place in this race. I'll tell you what, if he wasn't miserable before this race started, he might be in a minute.
I'll tell you what, this is the first race in a lot of races that I really think the Dunlop guys are on a level playing field with the Michelin runners. Do
you know what, Dunlop, you've got to take your hats off to them. They service 99% of this field in Superbike racing. They have to produce a huge, phenomenal amount of tyres for racing in Superbike, both wets, intermediates, dry tyres, of course. There goes Laverty. Laverty's through now as well. Michael Rutter slips back to third place. That's another Dunlop job men through. And you've got to say, Phil Plater and all the Dunlop guys, to really be on a par with a situation where it's bespoke Michelins for just 2 riders and 2 motorcycles. It's a great achievement for Dunlop.
Dunlop ended up in a difficult position beginning of the year because most of the Dunlop teams lack track time, they lack testing, so Dunlop were really keen to catch up, and they put their own test at Croft, which is not usual for Dunlop. So after Knockhill, all the Dunlop runners went to Croft, did a good old test, and Dunlop came with a lot of new product that is obviously working.
But having said that, Ryoichi Chianari was in the race, he might be winning it.
Yeah, well...
Lap 18 of 25. Lavia leads. Darrell Healy's day is going to be made after all. He might have been down in the mouth when he saw Leon Haslam go out. He might have been slightly disappointed Leon Haslam finishing in second place, albeit a good second place in race 1. but he is going to be ecstatic that it is the super sub come late signing, Gregorio Lavia, that once again goes for the race winner. Well, Michael Rutter's got a problem with Ryoichi Kianari. I can't imagine how Leon Haslam feels about this bloke.
Poor Leon Haslam has such bad luck just when he's getting things together, looking for a good couple of solid rostrum finishes, and has a bike problem. Michael Laverty, he's really got his act back together, made a few rookie mistakes, but as you said, saved it, did a good job, got off in the dirty part of the track, and brought it back on, and he's settled down, and he's going to get his best result this season.
Well, we can take another look at the pass here. More about Michael Laverty in a moment. So up the inside, classic Snetterton into the S's manoeuvre. Michael Rutter would have done that 100 times himself to other people. And here comes Michael Laverty, likewise up the hill into turn one, which is Rich's. Michael Laverty, a nice clean move. Now that Michael Laverty and Gary Mason have actually developed this Eddie Stobart Honda into a potentially race-winning machine, it would seem, at this particular point in the season. We've got 6 weeks off. I wonder if that's enough time for Jeremy McWilliams to get himself fit for the next round, which will be Silverstone in exactly 6 weeks, and to see the ex-MotoGP man on a now developed Stobart Honda, whether he can bring something to the party that will make it an absolute race winner alongside Rutter. Alongside Laverty.
We would love to see Jeremy Williams back out there at his fighting best, and certainly he's had quite a long layoff, and I would imagine enough time to get fit. But yeah, everything's gone a bit quiet on that front. I haven't really heard what's happening.
Battle for 5th place now. We'll try and catch up with that in the recess, of course. It is Steve Plater on bike number 4 there in 5th place now. He's displaced Ben Wilson, the Vivaldi Kawasaki behind him, and all over the back of Wilson now is Dean Thomas on bike number 12 and Tommy Hill on bike number 8. That's 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, all stuck together in their own little battle for the lower leaderboard positions. Tommy Hill, he was complaining about a little bit of pace down the back straight when I spoke to him earlier on today, but it certainly didn't look like he was lacking it compared with the Hawk Kawasaki there of Dean Thomas. Oh, Steve Plater gets it sideways on, and yeah, good old Plater. He does love it. He's a tryer. Now there's a man with a perennial grin all over his face, and I'm sure that getting on this Hydrex Honda for the first time. His dad's here in pit lane as well. But Buster Plater having a great ride. That's a bit more like the Steve Plater we know and love.
Well, he did come good at Croft. It's such a shame that Seven Kawasaki had to finish at Croft, because he was looking good there. Had a good couple of rides there. Unfortunately went down in race 2, but just taken to this Honda straight away. Straight away.
Danny Beaumont still the leader of the Superbike Cup race. He's down in 11th place overall, but on the 25-point position for the Privateers. Lavia still leads by 7/10 of a second now from Laverty and Rutter. And Laverty has, a 1 second lead over Rutter in 3rd place. Watch out for Reynolds. Reynolds has snuck up into 4th place, almost without me noticing. John Reynolds on the Rizla Suzuki. Of course, James Hayden is out, but here comes Ben Wilson. That's an audacious little move at the end of the Revit Straight. He's looking very, very good on that Vivaldi bike. So Plater outbraked, not something a lot of people do. Vivaldi spuds. I'm sure he has. Ben Wilson in 5th place at the moment on the 11 bike. Completely different style as well. Actually, it's quite interesting to watch Ben Wilson's style. He's all over that motorcycle, moving his way from side to side.
The first time I seen Ben Wilson, or took note of him, was here in Junior Superstock, and I thought, ooh, that's Noriyuki Hago on that, and he's still got that radical riding style.
He's got a very aggressive style, hasn't he? Now looking at Tommy Hill, he's changed his style a little bit this year as well. It's been a very, very frustrating year for Tommy Hill. Great expectations. He really was looking for a springboard onto great things. Sean Emmett, of course, will be back for the Superbike race at Croft, a non-championship race later in July. But Emmett, hopefully, that will be a warm-up for him. He'll be back at Silverstone in 6 weeks' time for round 9 of the British Superbike Championship. Whoa! Team Thomas almost collecting the rear end of Ben Wilson there. Ben Wilson getting himself in a little bit of a knot through the end of the S's. We're on lap 22. These laps are going by damn quick now. And look at Tommy Hill looking for a way round the outside of the bomb hole. I'll tell you what, it's a brave man that goes round the outside just here. You need to be very strong indeed, and it worked. Well, that is impressive. Round the outside of Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas will not believe it.
Nice tidy move as well. Yeah, that's a long way round, and normally that wouldn't work.
Wouldn't work, and you wouldn't try to make it work. Still Lavia, Laverty, Rutter, your top 3. Still Reynolds in 4th place, and it's this battle, 5th place battle of number 4, Steve Plater, 11, Ben Wilson. And then 8, Tommy Hill, followed by 12, Dean Thomas. Hydrex Honda versus Vivaldi Kawasaki versus Virgin Mobile Yamaha versus Hawk Kawasaki, and that is the Eddie Stobart Honda in the background of Gary Mason, who might come to join the 5th place party. I'll tell you what, Tommy Hill's looking a bit desperate. And he is desperate for a result this year. I suppose 5th place is as good a result as he's had for a while, as I reach for the list.
3 guys in this battle, they're all looking a bit desperate. I'm not sure which way this one's going to go. Whoa, Tommy Hill.
Hopefully not into the gravel trap here at the Russell chicane.
Well, I think Ben Wilson, he looks quite loose in that bike. That's just the way he rides. It's just his riding style. This
will be interesting. Tommy Hill ride out on the motocross line. He was taking the berm. Still Plater on the Hydrex Honda. I wonder what they were looking at. Probably that, perhaps they were looking at the technical fault on Steve Plater. If you recall a little earlier on, we got a notification they were taking a look at it. That fairing looks like it's flapping just a little bit. He's the main fairing on the bike. Maybe it's just come a bit loose on its mount. But
Gary Mason there on the Stobart Honda, he's come along to join the party. Unfortunately, maybe just a bit too late on the penultimate lap there.
Still Lavia leads by 1.5 seconds. Lavity in 2nd place by 2.6 seconds over Rutter, who has just a 3.7 second lead over Reynolds now. Reynolds has certainly started to close down Michael Rutter, but not enough time in this race, I don't think, to make a difference. Now then, back marker time. Malcolm Ashley, perhaps? In fact, not. Might be Michael Pensavali. It is Pensavali. It's Michael Pensavali. Difficult place to be in the middle of Corong. Oh, he's going to really cause trouble here. Jesus.
Oh, Ben Wilson.
Right up in the air.
Stoppy there.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was slack by Michael Pensavali, not paying attention to any kind of flags. He was all over the middle of the track, and
he's causing havoc here.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, like, Jesus. Excuse me. So through comes Gregorio Lavia on bike 36, the Airwaves Ducati. He has been so dominant. 1.4 seconds was his lead as he came onto this final lap. The Spaniard has been absolutely superb from the 2nd row of the grid. The GSE team and the team principal, of course, Darryl Healy, they have come into this series again after a sabbatical, taken a year out after being a front runner in the World Superbike class. What are they going to do with Ducati in 2006? Everyone said this bike would not win races this year. It has, and I just think there must be a plan for Darryl Healy and his men as the checker flag is out for Gregorio Lavia. 2nd place to the superb Michael Lavity. It just gets better and better for him every single week. 3rd place goes to Michael Rutter. He will increase his lead in the championship, courtesy of Chianari being out of this. But 5th place, John Reynolds has gone through for 4th. 5th place goes to Steve Plater, and he's happy about that. 6th place goes to... We can confirm that fantastic win for Gregorio Lavia. Neil Mackenzie's working on his Bennett's Rider of the Day as we speak. Michael Lavity in 2nd place, one better than his best ever on a Superbike. That was in race 1. Now he's 2nd in race 2. Rutter in 3rd place, but increases his lead in the series. Reynolds, Plater, Wilson, Hill and Mason are our top 8. Dean Thomas. Chris Burns, that's a good ride on the AIM Yamaha to come through there in 10th place, replacing John McGuinness on the AIM Yamaha. Danny Beaumont, the best of the privateers, 11th overall. Richard Wren, another 12th place for him. He's going to be happy with a good solid ride here on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. Lee Jackson replacing Glenn for the race here at the moment. Glenn Richards, I should say, for the Hawk Kawasaki place. Scott Smart, Steve Brogan and Luke Quigley. Standings, Rutter increases his lead over Chianari, who remains in 2nd place, but look how close it is now. Gregorio Lavia has regained some momentum. Leon Haslam, Glenn Richards, Carl Harris, Michael Lavity and Dean Thomas. And in the Privateer Cup, James Buckingham, Steve Brogan, Chris Martin, Martin Hutton, Danny Beaumont there, increasing his points tally today. Rutter actually looked miserable, unhappy and demotivated at the start of that race. I think possibly we misinterpreted that. Perhaps it was focus and a need to get on and try and win the race.
I'm afraid what nobody knows, which we can announce now, is Michael broke both his collarbones yesterday. He's got 2 broken collarbones, so he's been riding completely with them strapped up, and we obviously kept it within the team, but this one's completely dislocated as well, and this one's snapped clean in 2, so he's done incredibly well today. People don't realise that.
just reiterate that again, because I have to say, even though I'm a very experienced man around racetracks, one collarbone broken, you might get over it. 2 collarbones broken, even here at Snetterton, where it's not physically quite as tough. That is fantastic. Tell us it again.
Yeah, he broke both his collarbones. Luckily, the medical people said we could keep it under wraps, and he's strapped up, and obviously he's just done incredibly well. He's, as I say, and this one is dislocated on the left-hand side too, so it's unbelievable that he managed to do what he's done today. So we're over the moon with it. Obviously, he's got a 5-week gap now, so he'll certainly be fit again by Silverstone, but he's been in a lot of pain, a lot of problems.